Hi, Mark. Good morning.
Morning.
We're doing a series of videos to try to capture some of our corporate history and the upcoming 100-year anniversary of the company, which, of course, you and I know was a date that Dad had picked out from our great-grandfather, Hoyt. But, it's an appropriate date. I guess it traces itself back to that gas station. So good enough for us.
I was young enough to be at that gas station. All right, yeah, I'm 441, yeah, long time ago. Yeah.
So before we get started, why don't you state your name and your position and how long you've been with the company?
Well, my name is Marc Boudet. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Administration. That's the administration part's the fun part. Yeah. I've been at the company just a little over 42 years. Started here January 24th, 1983.
Awesome. Well, how did you end up getting with the company?
Well, it's a long story. It has various issues with it, but quite honestly, our grandmother had promised your dad that years ago that give me an opportunity, but it started way before that. In 1977, before Granddad died, being in his in the hospital room, he says, "You need to come work for this company when you get out of school. It's a great company." And he was an ag guy. He loved farming and stuff. And so it was a natural progression. And I was offered a job, but interesting enough, not interviewed by your dad. Maybe come down, you interview with the people down in Deerfield and see if they'll hire you. And I did. And fortunately enough, I was hired.
Yeah. So what was it, one of the first jobs that Dad gave you when you came on board?
Well, first job I ever had was we had a propeller display that had our props on it, and I had to get carpeting on it. So I had to go get carpet on propellers. And what I realized is that there's not anything small enough that's not important. Mm-hmm. It didn't seem important at the time, but when people came in and saw our propellers, it was the very first thing we could talk about. Yeah. And so it moved into other things once you were able to speak about it. Yeah.
I remember that propeller display. Yeah, it's there for a really, really, really end time. So they're polished nice too. You can see your reflection in those.
And what it did is, if we go back and look at it, it was the first designs for the hydroflows, which, as we all know, were minus pitch is not what we built now. So it was totally different. But again, a conversation piece for a starter.
Yeah, definitely. I like that display. As a little kid, I always used to climb on it, I think.
I recall.
Yeah, I have it in one of our warehouses.
I'm sure it's around somewhere. We used some of those propellers on the rental pumps later on.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, nothing went to waste.
Exactly.
So over the years, how have you seen MWI Pumps evolve and adapt to changing times?
Well, we were a pretty single-focused markets back in the days when I came here. We were working overseas mostly. In the United States, we were probably doing less than $1 million a year. But it was on purpose because the market here became very competitive, couldn't make a lot of money doing agricultural business. And so your father had great insight to working overseas was the way to go. Number one, you could specify your product, you could sell a job, and they were much larger than anything you do in the United States, and they were more profitable. When I came here, we started going municipality after municipality, getting ourselves back in the markets again. At the same time, we bought Couch Pump Company and Couch from Alice Chalmers, and buying that really opened up another market for us and representatives that we had never had before around the United States. So seen a transition from that to back to the United States and then back international. And our rental division has grown from a company doing $1 million to a company doing way more than that now. Yeah. So. But yeah, good transitions.
Yeah, it's been even some of our product lines that we have now that we didn't have.
We didn't. We didn't have the submersible electric. In 1985, we started developing the submersible electric and really helped out hiring Ed Sarasas, because Ed came in from Westinghouse in Canada and was able to help us with a really nice motor design that really opened up a marketplace for us more municipally, and then gave us 3 types of pumps, from hydroflows, line shafts, and then submersible electrics, which has been a great product for us.
Yeah, we could. That was always telling us that if we're not coming up with a new product that's making up a certain percentage of your sales in the future, you're not developing enough stuff.
He was right.
Yeah. And now, of course, we have all the whole smaller centrifugal pump line that we build for our own rental fleet and everybody, and enclosures that we do nowadays, and I think that continuation of developing new products continues on.
Well, it also lets us have a different type of representative than we had before.
Right.
Before it was engineered products, which have a very long, we call flash to bang time from when we start working on the project till we end up with the project. Could be 3, 4, 5, easy. Longest one I worked on was 13 years, to where you could sell product daily.
Right.
So we have equipment that a rep could call us, and we have it in stock and have it delivered, and then get our name out to places that we didn't have before that don't use axial flow pumps.
Right.
Yeah, there are a lot of states in the U.S. that don't use our pipe type pumps, but they use centrifugal pumps. So it definitely has expanded our market for sure.
How would you describe the culture at MWI Pumps? What do you think sets us apart from other companies?
Well, I think we're a family-owned business who wants to be a big corporation. And I said, but I like the family-owned part of it. I tell people all the time, what are the good and bads for family-owned businesses? You can make decisions really quick. What's the bad? You can make decisions really quick. But we've been fortunate that we think through our processes. But I think culturally, it's a family feel. And I can't imagine working at a place that didn't have this feel. I think working for a large corporation, that would be very sterile. I don't think it's that way. And if you can run, they'll let you run. So,
Right.
if you need to walk a little bit, they'll let you walk a little bit. But it's a great place to work, and I think people get along well here.
Yeah, I think so too. Talk about that on corporate culture and funny stories and things like that. You know, our uncle's not with us anymore, Dwight, but I recall there were some practical jokes he used to try to pull on you, and I think you got him back one time.
Yeah. Dwight was quite the character. I was traveling overseas, and of course, whenever a salesman would leave the office, people who weren't salesmen were always fishing or on vacation. And I would come back, and my office would be turned around 180 degrees. Everything would be upside down. And I found out after the second time that it was good old Uncle Dwight who was doing those things. And being as childish as I was back in those days, I proceeded to go into Dwight's office on a Saturday, and I super glued everything on his desk to the top, including his phone, and all was drawers shut. And he came in the first day, he went to pick up his phone, and it ripped off the desk and took the covering off his desk. And I heard yelling down the hall, and I remember going in his office and using some unkind words. Basically, don't mess around in my office anymore. And no one ever did after that.
A lot of practical jokes, I think, going on.
Well, yeah, it was bad then. Not proud of some of them, but they were still funny. So, yeah.
Significant projects and achievements. Can you talk about a project or achievement? I know we have lots of them that you've been the key member of, but a project or achievement you're particularly proud of during your time.
I think the business that we're doing in Thailand right now has been the most rewarding for me, because we went to a country that we've been traveling to for 25 or 30 years. And I had been going there since 1996 myself, and we just hadn't sold very much. And what ends up happening is that you have to have the right rep. In this business, if I could give anyone a piece of advice, if you don't have the right rep, you'll never be as successful as you possibly could be. And in 2011, they had some major flooding there, and we were reached out to by a couple of different people. And the guy that reached out to me was an interesting line: if you're waiting to see if I'm the right guy, when you get here, it'll be too late. And I took that as that's the guy I need to meet. And we went over and met with him, met with the Ministry of Water, Disaster Mitigation Department. And with that, we were able to do our first project over there that had 24 hydroflows, 30-inch, 1.5 cubic meters per second, or about 24,000 gallons a minute. And now we have almost 500 pumps in Thailand. And it's been a great market for us, but it was something I had not done before, which is creating a market.
Right.
And we were able to create a market, and it was definitely the most fun thing I've done. However, it's not the best thing I've ever done. We have a product called the solar pedal flow, and the most rewarding project I ever had was sitting in Bamako, Mali, in a village that we had put a solar pedal flow in, and that year after we put it in was the first year they never had a case of dysentery. And standing around standpipes with water coming out, with about 30 or 40 kids from the village standing around, Bill Buckton and myself, and drinking out of this fountain.
Yeah.
It was,
The joy that comes from that experience.
selling pumps and making money is great,
Right.
getting people that aren't dying.
Yeah, using our know-how and the gifts God's given us to be able to
Amazing.
Yeah,
It was amazing.
help people in the world is a pretty cool thing. I love that product, and hopefully in the future we'll figure out how to continue to sell more of them.
It definitely has its rewards for sure.
Cultural traditions and stories. I think we already recounted a funny story. Are there any others that you can think of from your time that brings a smile to your face that we can share?
That we can share. Well, I think that some of our trips that we've made, it's again, stations that we've done. We did a project in Arizona called 23rd Street water treatment plant, and when we had an issue with some of our pumps out there, they were shearing shafts, and the good part is we found out it had nothing to do with our pumps.
Right.
We had some VFDs that were located too far away, and they were sending a irregular sine signal back to the motors, and they were ratcheting. Ratcheting, what I mean by that, if you look at a ceiling fan and it's going around, it looks like the inside of the ceiling fan is moving at a different speed as the fan. And what it did is it fatigued the shaft and it cracked. Well, how do we figure that out? We have some very smart engineers that work for us, and including your dad. And so we flew on our company plane or a jet out there, and we'll never forget landed in Midland, Texas, and your dad saying, "How far is Phoenix?" And we realized that it's a lot further across the United States than you realize. But what we're able to do is respond quickly, solve the people's problems, and we still sell pumps there today.
Yeah. Good things.
Yeah, that's a great story.
Yeah.
Talking about travel and stuff, how many countries have you been to for the company?
Well, when I started here, I'd been to Costa Rica and the Bahamas, and now I've been to 53.
53 countries. How many countries do you think we have pumps in?
Over 100.
Yeah, a pretty good number.
Yeah.
So, as the company approaches its 100-year anniversary, what do you envision for MWI Pumps in the next decade and beyond?
I think we're going to grow. I still think that we're at the tip of the iceberg. As we have gotten larger and have really focused on a certain market that a lot of companies we compete against have disappeared out of. They're more worried about wastewater plants and sewage plants. They've left a void, and some of the big companies we compete against are no longer in our line of business. Now, does that mean we'll own the market? No. But does that mean that we can be a leader in the market? I believe absolutely. It was some of the new people that we brought on that I think that with product improvements, R&D to make our pumps more efficient, I think that we have still not reached our ceiling.
Yeah, I agree. We got a lot of great opportunities that we just have to keep executing.
Yeah, we just need to clean up some stuff, and execute a little bit better and quicker. But speed is not always the craziest thing. When you're building a pump station that takes a year to year and a half to build, have to deliver in 6 months, doesn't make any difference.
Okay. One of the things I'm having everybody do, I end the video and stuff so we can capture these and maybe put them in a little clip. But if you want to look into the camera and wish the company a happy 100th birthday, so feel free to do that, and we'll capture that and put them all together.
MWI, you should feel blessed to work here. 100 years? There's not very many companies in the United States or the world that can say they've been in business for 100 years, and they're getting better every year. We have good times, we have bad times, but we lean on each other, we lean on our past, and we look forward to the future. So congratulations on the 100 years.
Thank you, Marc.
My pleasure.